It ain't fresh. Appreciate that, Jason. It ain't fresh yet. It'll be fresh later on for Hitman.
Oh,
but
yeah.
yeah. So there's a little bit of fallout going on this week, and a story was released by the LA Times earlier this week that set the industry on fire. Jason covered, and the piece accused Tony Wong, the co-owner of California-based lifestyle brand Stizzy or Steezy, depending on who you ask, but it was accusing him of being the landlord of several trap shops in the greater LA area. Wong, through a spokesperson, swiftly responded by acknowledging the properties were being used illegally, but it was done without his knowledge, and that he tried to even evict his unsavory tenants more than one time as soon as he found out. But per the SF Gates reporting, prior to publishing the story, lawyers for Wong and Stizzy sent the Times a cease and desist letter threatening to sue for defamation if they released it, claiming a former executive at Stizzy had tricked the Times into writing the story. Of course, the Times wrote that they had no contact with the executive prior to the lawyer reaching out, and here we are. The industry's response to the allegations have been mixed, but at least one prominent trade group's calling for a boycott of the brand until the allegations are fully resolved. The Green Market Report released this morning that the UCBA, United Cannabis Business Association, posted a notice on Instagram. My words today, man. On Wednesday, that the LA Times story broke with a banner that read, "Lack of enforcement allegedly allows legal operator to play both sides in California cannabis industry." Time story reported that Stizzy founder Tony Wong, the visionary officer of the Shrine Group, had ownership stakes in at least 9 buildings where trap shops were being run. So while Wong was still embroiled in some legal actions with municipalities over some of the locations, including an abatement lawsuit from the city of Compton, most municipal enforcement actions have settled out of court thus far. The State Department of Cannabis Control told the Times that it's still investigating allegations against Wong, and meanwhile, Stizzy is running as usual. He actually denied everything and said that the truth will be released very soon. Here's what UCBA President Jared Kylo had to say. "These allegations are alarming enough. Along with many UCBA board members, I intend to cease any further purchases of Stizzy products for resale with the cannabis shops until these allegations are fully resolved. It's important for the industry to support operators who abide by the law." Stizzy did not immediately respond to the story before it ran this morning. But Kylo did tell Green Market Report that about 40 retailers thus far had signed on to be part of the boycott, and added that he expects the backlash to grow through the supply chain as other licensed companies find ways to cut ties with the brand too. I've been talking to brands who are direct competitors of Stizzy who are going, "Holy crap, this whole time we knew their business model wasn't really sustainable. We thought they were just incurring debt. And now to find out that they're selling to the illicit market and subsidizing their own legal businesses, and that's why we couldn't compete with them." Kylo added that the Times story basically broke what is an open secret in much of the cannabis industry already about Stizzy having sizable illicit market footprint. "We were so happy that someone else has pointed this out. We've been pointing it out for years. This makes the legal industry look shitty. It makes us all look like criminals." Stizzy is far from the first licensed marijuana business in California to have been accused of operating in both legal and illegal sides of the trade, particularly since it's hard enough to turn a profit in the red tape heavy state that many multi-state operators and brands, including Curaleaf, Trulieve, Wana Brands, and others, have exited the market entirely in recent years. The tough market conditions have led to licensed companies to play both sides to turn a profit and to keep food on the table. So I got questions here, man. So this is a very, very, very sticky situation, and like I said, the industry is torn. There's plenty of people that are taking Tony and Stizzy's side. I personally think that, until the allegations are fleshed out, like, he's innocent until proven guilty, right? And my question to everybody is, where do you guys stand on this? Should there be a boycott against Stizzy? Should we wait until the rule of law drops the gavel? Or doesn't even matter. It's just another distraction to get people riled up against each other. And UCBA is snitching right here. I don't know. I'm Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on the street, though. For High 9 News, I want to hear from you guys. Lots of tea today, Jason. Lots of tea.
This is all just one big distraction, Rico. The reality is that no one in the cannabis industry is capable of actually holding a real boycott because everyone's interests are different. There is no unified voice of uniformity amongst the cannabis industry. And so this is one big joke. I think the UCBA is just trying to use its retail leverage to kind of bully Stizzy in that way. And I don't think that they should be calling for this boycott until after allegations are actually made concrete and held out through a court or judicial type of hearing.
Especially the business that we're in.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like
exactly.
I don't really rock with the boycott until like everything's fleshed out. It's a situation, and we know like a lot of people are playing on both sides, but just call them out like that, and I don't rock with that, man. I don't rock with that.
Yeah, I'm not.
And they're going to lose sales and send people to the trap if you take Stizzy off their shelves, because Stizzy is one of the most popular brands and one of the biggest sellers.
They're just going to lose their customers.
Regardless, you're gonna lose retail space, and the people who do choose to rock with Stizzy, they're gonna take all the business.
Yeah, and then as soon as they walk into a trap shop and realize they can buy it for 30-40% less than what they were paying at your legal shop, they're never coming back to your store to buy anything else.
Right. So I don't know. What do the rest of y'all think about this one?
I want to hear what Chris thinks.
Yeah, I agree with generally everything you guys are saying. I think another way to look at this, though, too, is like, people that aren't in the industry are looking and consuming to some degree news about the industry. And I think it's important to understand that, like, this is what some people who have no context about cannabis see, right? Whether it's right, wrong, true, false, old story, new story, people aren't invested to the degree that certainly we are on this panel. We are as an audience, that are High at 9 News consumption folks. We have to understand, or we don't have to do anything. I think it's important to understand that people not within our industry that are potential consumers of cannabis or Canna Curious are consuming this type of material and have very little context behind it. And as we know, we're a society that, takes a headline, runs with it, takes a headline, takes what we want out of it and runs with it. And so I think that's another angle that I'm looking at it as, because, I'm not, Jason, I don't have the background of the industry that you do. Rico, I don't have the background in the industry that you do. I don't have the years behind me that both of you guys do. And so, to some degree, I think maybe it's easier for me to look at it that way. But, I have people in my life that are like, and now interested in cannabis only because they know that I'm involved in cannabis to some degree. So it's just another way I was looking at it. I was like, man, and I'm not saying it's like a bad look for the industry, because people are going to put out what they want. And, at the end of the day, if we're going to formulate opinions, the way I formulate opinions is I take as much data as I can. I take as much experience about the people involved, if I have any, that I can. And then I, if I can, reach out to that person and get their side of the story or whatever, if it's appropriate or I'm invested to do so. In this situation, I'm not invested to do so because I don't know personally the players myself. But I'm looking at it from that lens that, as an industry, I think there's ways that we collectively can put our best foot forward, because there's amazing people doing amazing things for amazing communities here, period. And, I think it kind of sucks that, as a big a platform as the story came out, there's going to be people who don't have yet an opinion of cannabis, and this might be a data point that they use to formulate that opinion.
That's very true. And you can't always make the bad the enemy of the good, you guys.
I hate when you say that shit.
Is Stizzy one of those brands? Is Stizzy one of those brands that adds terpenes to their products, to their pre-rolls or something like that?
To their vapes.
I'm not sure about their product lines, but I would be willing to bet that they add some terps to some of that.
I'd say yeah.
They have some products that do, or at least they have some products that I would say that they do that too.
The reason I'm asking is their product line and marketing don't seem very aligned with the plight or the needs of the patient.
Oh yeah, no, they do not advertise as a medical company at all. You're right about that. Yeah.
a street brand.
Yeah, they're a street brand. They are strictly a street
Yeah, I would say
brand.
like allegations like this like elevate their profile.
Okay, they can.
Yeah.
That's a great point, Doctor.
Well,
That's a great optic to look through. Yeah.
You're right about
They
that.
can go away, as far as I'm concerned. Then
Aren't they really just cultivating an image that has to do more with clothing and less to do with cannabis?
I mean, I think Stizzy sells a lot more vape cartridges than they do any of their streetwear. I do believe they do have some streetwear, but I don't think that's really the focus point of their brand. Their brand is focused on building the Stizzy name and just keeping that street awareness.
Yeah, they have a very, very, very strong following in the streets, in the community. You know, and they do a lot. They do a lot to help out the community. So.
Do they have like unique genetics that they only have, that like cookies, or no?
I think they do have a few that they have licensed. I don't want to speak out of place here, but I have talked to a couple of folks that did some deals with them for some exclusively licensed cultivars, if you will.
And so, Justin Benson in the chat, he's saying that Stizzy used to make SKUs that had artificial or the other added terpenes in there. He said that they currently don't produce them anymore. So,
thanks, Justin.
Yeah,
yes.
You know, Jason, we can't just throw them under the bus. There's probably a lot of operators who are like that. And that's more of an economic and prohibition reasons why that happens, and not so much just these guys. So we shouldn't just throw these guys under the bus. Let's throw them all under the bus.
Yeah, no, I don't think they should get thrown under the bus until there's actually like some kind of a conviction, like some real, you know, like granted that LA Times piece was really, really put together, and whoever the gentleman that wrote that really did a lot of investigation into that to come up with all of those different points. But at the same time, he's a journalist and not a detective, not a member of law enforcement, not even a member of the DCC. And I think we need to wait until we get like real allegations or criminal charges that go forward with this before we just start calling for boycotts.
I just wanted to add, so at the end of the day, real product differentiation is how close you are to the plant and how close you are to the innovators that are growing and that are breeding. And to me, it just seems like these kinds of brands are just too far away from the real, you know, essence of the plant itself. I could be wrong, but, you know, it's just my take on it.
Yep. And everyone is like, Stizzy's a legacy brand at the same time too. So, you know, Trap's going to survive. And James of Flatbush is like, I got Stizzy carts out in the shops in New York. So shout out to Stizzy.
Hey, Dr. Bart, can I pile on to your comment? Because I find it totally interesting. And I think, you know, I think what I heard you say is like, you know, some of these brands are farther away from the plant, right? Let's look at alcohol, right? You have like a psalm with respect to wine and the grape, and then you've got, you know, somebody who just wants to do like Jaeger shots at a bar somewhere, right? And I think that there's room, and I'm not saying you don't think this, I'm not like at all arguing, I'm just, because we're in person and, you know, we kind of know each other, it's kind of fun to like have some banter and dialogue back and forth. But you know, to that degree, my devil's advocate, respectfully argument would be like, hey, well, if we treat it like alcohol, which I think generally where to some degree this is all going, right? In terms of consumption, use, certainly regulation, enforcement, you know, drunk driving, you know, things like that. I think you do have certainly folks in the industry that believe, hey, you know, as close to the plant as we can get. And then you have some other people that may never be that interested in it and just want to consume, you know, and I'm not trying to say any one brand is the Jaeger shot of cannabis. That's not what I'm saying. But I hope my point is clear that you have some people that are very close to the vine and the wine and how it affects the body or how it affects the palate. And then you have some people that like never really that curious about it, don't really care, just want to, you know, just want to consume for whatever reason. And so I think there's space for everybody at that table in an industry. And I think that there should be. There's some folks that are going to consume only for medical purposes. My brother-in-law consumes cannabis specifically for medical purposes, right? And then I have, you know, folks, and I think to some degree myself, that consume because I enjoy how it makes me feel, depending on where I'm at, and you know, physically, and where I'm at, you know, mentally, where I'm at emotionally, and you know, to some degree, you know, for me personally, it's just like it's like a big glass of wine. That's why how I describe the what I like about cannabis is just kind of like, does that make sense?
Yes, most definitely. And, you know,
Yes, definitely. Great dialogue.
all use is medical use, regardless of what use you think you're using it for.